Excited. Before we dive into this great interview, I'm really excited. Before we dive into today's exciting interview, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Books to Life Marketing, the team making it all possible. They specialize in helping authors bring their stories to life through expert publishing, marketing, and media exposure. They're behind some of the most inspiring author journeys we've seen. If you're an author looking to elevate your book, Books to Life Marketing is the partner you want in your corner. And our guest today is Sheri Baity. She is the author of Coyote Hunting Farm Style. Take two. Protecting the farm animals from coyote attacks is her book genre. Very fascinating topic, Sheri. Thanks for stopping by. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. And
All right.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. So,
Good.
what inspired you to focus on coyote hunting? And
Uh,
how did your early experiences with fishing and hunting shape your approach?
well, fishing and hunting kind of got me in the outdoors. I was out there with my dad all the time. So that made the time even more special. I married a dairy farmer. And while he was busy milking cows and doing field work, he said, "Why don't you go up back and take care of some of those coyotes?" And I said, "Okay." So then I just went up and started hunting them on our farm.
Can you share a moment you realized you needed to take matters into your own hands regarding the coyote problem on your farm?
Listening to them every night, even down here at the farmhouse. I mean, they were loud and noisy and obnoxious. And then we started having some cows that would break through the barbed wire fencing, and we thought something's chasing them. And I'd go up, and sure enough, there'd be coyotes just about crawling at that time. So I knew there was a problem.
Harvesting 17 coyotes in a month is impressive. What strategies or techniques do you think contributed most to your success?
That was my first month after I hunted for about a year and kept on shooting coyotes. That was really my first month of research. I wanted to know more about these animals that I was hunting them, and I wanted to know how they worked. And it was just incredible being up there and seeing that many. Now, I'll tell you, out of those 17 coyotes, 16 of them were female, only one was a male. So that was like a kind of like an odd number there. So it was incredible. I learned so much from the other animals, how they react when they hear the coyotes or see the coyotes, and it was just a great month.
How did your hunting experiences on your own farm prepare you for assisting neighboring farms with their predator issues?
Well, that was kind of a fluke. They were coming from the mountainside and working the gully down, which is like a really thin stretch of trees and woods. So they would like either go to the right out on my property or go to the left out on other people's property. So my property joined with other people's property. So I take care of them on my farm, and they don't have the problem on theirs anymore.
What was the process like for advocating for legislation changes in Pennsylvania? And how did your personal experiences influence that effort?
I learned one thing: to never, ever, ever get into politics. So that's one thing I learned.
Anything more?
Oh, there's a lot more I can tell you, but this might be a family show, so I'll keep it nice.
Okay. And so
um,
what was the changes Pennsylvania was looking to do?
oh, well, the thing with Pennsylvania Game Commission is they were so old school. They were afraid of changes and technology and things like that, kind of like me when I first started. Um, so it was a lot of work. It was a lot of legwork, and a lot of talking, and going back and forth to Harrisburg and knocking on people's doors and sending out letters, and it was just it was an experience. It was something else.
Really? Interesting. So, why do you think they're old school? Kind of explain what's their thought process in old school
That's always
gaming.
been the way they were. They didn't like the change, but then when I got in there with this, getting this legislation done, I did my homework first. So I checked all of the surrounding states that already allowed this equipment, And I talked to their top biologists in each state and got their opinion on the impact, the safety issues, and all that stuff. So I got I did a lot of homework and I got a lot of information for them. And I went to each of these commissioners and showed them the equipment and talked about it. And yeah, we slowly worked our way into the good.
So let's talk about how a coyote is a predator. I'm
Uh-huh.
intrigued by that, okay?
Okay.
Because you kind of think about why is that a predator compared to other animals?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Coyotes are. There was a time when they were more afraid of you than you were of them. Now they're being so bold and going out and looking for food that they're not so much afraid of you anymore. So they're very cunning, very smart, and you have to be on your toes when you're out there. They can turn on you in a dime. Kids and pets and things like that. If they're hungry, they're gonna go after it. So that's what makes them a predator.
See, that's interesting. I'm sure when you think about it, what could we have done to not allow this coyote problem? What could have been the process that wouldn't have gone to this point? This is just my point, taking another side, with hunting and all in general. Would there have been other ways of preservation or things like that have caused this coyote problem?
Well, you look at areas around here where farms have closed down. They just can't do the dairy farming anymore. And what happens to that land? A lot of the times it gets sold into developments and things. There's plenty of houses out there. So why do you have to take perfectly good land and make developments out of it? You are taking basically the land away from the animals, is what you're doing.
Wow.
So you have to think clearly on that end. And then once you start cramping these coyotes, they can reproduce really rapidly and quick. So therefore you're going to have overcrowding in the areas.
See that it's interesting, and I guess in writing this book, did you figure out some other methods in this research from writing the book?
um well, kind of people's pets. I like to go around where I'm called to an area. I like to go around. I like to find out people's pets and how close they are, and do they leave food out for the
Uh,
pets and stuff like that. So there's different points that you can help to keep the coyotes away from your area somewhat. But um, you know, you get a pack of coyotes, and they're all right. They'll stick to the wild animals, but then you start getting an overcrowded pack of the coyotes.
yeah.
Then that's kind of where I come in. It's bringing the pack down to a balance rather than an overcrowded, because once they're overcrowded, they just devastation.
Right. I can hear you and all this when you're talking about the devastation. If people could be careful, those situations might not happen as much.
Yeah.
It's really about being safe, like keeping your food out. Biggest mistake,
Yes.
especially. So is Pennsylvania a big coyote country? Like a lot of coyotes. I didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of coyotes here.
Okay, see, I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh, but now I'm in Mentor, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So I don't understand the whole process. And I understand about pests because
Yeah.
we have a big skunk problem in Ohio that I found out, and I didn't know about that. So go figure.
We
Uh,
have possums and coons endlessly.
all right. So how did you balance the thrill and challenge of hunting with the responsibility and safety and ethical practices?
Oh, the thrill. Oh, there's always going to be a thrill. Every time I go out to my hunting shack, whether it's seeing a bald eagle fly by, or listening to the coyotes group howl, and there's always going to be a thrill. It's just being out there by yourself, no cell phone, no TV, no interruptions, just enjoying what I call nature's symphony. Hearing the other animals, and it's incredible. So that's always going to be a thrill. You don't always have to have a kill to get a thrill. Every time I go up there and in the great outdoors, I'm home.
And that's interesting. And the outdoors. Talk about how much you enjoy the outdoors part
Oh,
of the process, meaning like looking at nature and looking at everything. And we're going to talk further about this that you talked about in your book as well.
yeah. I love it. My crows. I was named a long time ago Crow Woman. So my crows, I won't let anyone hunt crows on my property. Not at all, because I figure I'll give them my property as their haven, their safe place. Because they're what I call the messengers of the forest. They have that higher point of view, and I've learned from watching them and listening to them, you can pretty much tell what's going through the woods and where it's going to come out of, just by watching their or listening to their calls, and their talking and their chattering, watching them move from treetop to treetop. It's just, so I've learned a lot from them. Um, and woodpeckers are the same way. If a woodpecker is out there just pecking on a tree, and then all of a sudden you hear its alarm and you see it fly off, you better look around that tree that it was pecking on, because chances are there's a predator down at the foot of the tree. So blue jays, they're another source of learning from. The deer, I tell you, maybe I need another 30 years, but the deer I haven't figured out, because sometimes I'll go up there and I'll play a rabbit distress call, and the does come running out to the call, and it's like, are you dumb? What are you doing? I'm calling coyotes, not deer. You
So
guys,
you don't want to hunt deer. It sounds like
during deer season, yes.
deer, but not during non-season, right?
No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I don't think I'd like jail very well.
But
So
there's not many like books on coyote hunting, especially for
no,
dairy farms. It's very
no.
niche.
Yeah.
How has the response been to the people you want to get the book out to?
It's been pretty good. The comments have been really, really favorable, and the long discussions. I'll get phone calls, and we'll just discuss things over the book. And it's been a lot of fun.
Do you try to do consulting as well in that process? And when you're
If someone really wants me to, I will consider it, depending on how far I have to go, and things like that. But I just rather have people email me, or whatever, talk to me on messenger, or anything. I'll be more than happy to tell you what I've learned. One thing I've learned when I was out there doing seminars and things for over 30 years now is, a lot of people don't want to give away their secrets, and I don't go for that. I just don't believe in that. I feel I got this information pretty much free from the other animals, so why not share it with everyone if it's going to help them? God bless them, let it help them.
No, it sounds like it. It's like you definitely want to let them help them in so many ways.
Yeah, yeah.
That's key. So basically, were there any particular hunts or moments in the field that stand out especially memorable or transformative for you?
uh the best hunt I've had in 32 years, and I wrote about it in the book. The title is Daddy, I Could See His Breath. I took out two father and sons, and it was just so incredible. The excitement on the kids, and the questions they ask, and the dads working with their sons during the hunt. It was just it was pretty incredible. And that the title Daddy, I Could See His Breath came from the one little boy when he had a coyote face to face with him, and he leaned over and he said, Daddy, I could see his breath. And that just, wow, that was magic. So it's making memories like that.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It's all about the memories at
Yeah.
the end of the day. As a woman in a traditionally male dominated field, Do you face any unique challenges and how do you overcome them?
I've faced a lot, and but it's kind of like, yes, I am a woman. Last I checked, I am a woman. Um, but it's not so much being a woman. It's just someone who was gracious enough to have time to travel. For my husband, and a passion for what I wanted to do. I wanted to make this change. Um, the drive, a lot of the guys wanted this change, but they all had full-time jobs, they had family. Me, I had the freedom to be able to go and push this for 3.5 years. So I think it's the desire, the passion is what really made this happen, not so much just being a woman. um Being a woman caused a lot of problems with some of the guys, but
Yeah.
we got through that.
And interesting. And what do you mean? So what problems did it cause with the guys?
There were a lot of guys that I had to block and delete. And, they wanted, when I first started it, I wanted infrared because that was the equipment that I was used to using,
Yeah.
so I was going for infrared. And then this whole clique, if you wanted to call them, of guys started coming at me. Oh, we went thermal, and it's like, if they were using thermal. So it's like, you've got to show me all about this thermal, because I'm not going to preach about getting thermal passed if I don't even know the equipment. I don't even understand it. So they were getting very not nice. So we deleted and blocked a lot of them, and I just kept on going, and I guess I caved in. I finally went for infrared and thermal and night vision. So, yeah, we got it.
That's tough. How do you hope your book will inspire, educate readers who may be new to predator hunting or rural wildlife management?
I think they'll really enjoy the stories, and they'll also see through some of the stories. It's not all about the kill. There's so many things that you can get out there in nature and free of charge. It's like a great movie. I love it. And there's a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't hunt, I don't kill." You don't have to hunt with a gun. Hunt with a camera, for goodness sake, because there's so many people and magazines out there that would love to buy those pictures from you, of wildlife out there. So you could have a whole new side
Ah,
hobby.
yeah, and that's the interesting thing for the people that might say, "Oh my gosh, I never would think you'd be able to hunt coyotes and like you do." It's not right in your on your farm, right? You have to go out and find them, right? You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
because that would not be safe.
Yeah, it used to be easy, but I've given some of those coyotes over back. I'm sure their diplomas. So they've
Yeah,
learned
and
from.
did you see one of the Landman episodes? They coyote just got killed straight in the backyard. If you've not seen Landman,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's interesting, and this is where you're giving a point to people saying, okay, so I'm going to go with the point of people who don't believe in hunting at all.
Uh-huh.
What would happen if you did not hunt coyotes?
Overcrowded. I mean, they would be so out of control. It would be ridiculous. We have some cows that pasture through the winter, so they're out there, and yeah, they have a barn and a lean-to to go in, but that won't stop the access of the coyotes. They'll, if they're hungry, they'll find a way in. So our barn cats, we always know that the coyotes are heavy when our barn cats start fading away. So we know that they're coming down close to the barn. We have tracks out back of the barn in the winter snow where they'll come right down to the back door of the barn door and get a drink out of the creek, and it's like, oh, there, yeah, that's too close, that's too close.
Oh my goodness. But that's interesting that that this is the point because then you won't have milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dairy.
Yep.
Because if
Yep.
there's coyotes destroying all your property because this is your property. This is your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
If explain that. So what would happen to your cows? They'd all be killed by the coyote, right?
Well, we'd probably have a very high vet bill for one.
Okay.
And there are stories out west where coyotes will actually, once the mama starts giving birth, they'll actually chew at the baby coming out while it's still partway in the mama. So
Oh
it,
my
it can,
goodness.
yeah, it can be devastating.
It sounds like, and
Yeah.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Beyond hunting, what do you hope readers take away from your story about perseverance, advocacy, and connection to the outdoors?
Passion is a big one to add in there. um Even if they don't want to get into that, I hope they find something that they're going to have that passion and that desire to strive for, because it might not be their cup of tea, but I hope they find their perfect cup of tea to carry on through life. Because once you have a passion and a desire, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what I was doing when I first started this. That was a process in itself, but I learned, because I was so passionate to have this law changed.
Yes. And I could see that passion in you that
Yeah.
you wanted to do it. And
Yeah.
I think, what do you think that the most powerful thing that moving forward, the book, are you consulting with other dairy farmers now because of what you've learned in the hunting phase, and some of them might not know how to do this to stop the,
I'll consult with anyone that questions me. I mean, that I'm an open book. So ask me and I'll tell you.
so are you able to tell us what dairy farm in Pennsylvania you're located in?
Tioga County, Pennsylvania.
Tioga. How far is that from Pittsburgh, by the way?
4 hours.
4 hours. So
Yeah.
You're near Philadelphia then.
Yeah. If you take Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and you go up in an angle, I'm right there.
Oh, so you're at the top of Pennsylvania. Got it.
Yeah, I'm about 30 miles from the New York border.
Okay. Okay. Well, fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. Best place people can find info on you and stuff and purchase your book. Where can they go?
SheriBaity.com, or you can Google Sheri Baity or Sheri Al Baity, and it'll have links to um, Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and worldwide
Do you
links.
hope to write another book?
I am considering it.
You have to think about it. What would be the next phase of this? Because it seems like you're more than just an expert in coyote hunting. You look like you're expert in deer hunting as well.
I love deer hunting. I'm very selective because over the years I've gotten my share, but now it's time to just kick back and see what's out there. So it usually happens just about the last day of deer season that I'll lay one down because I need the meat for the winter.
All right. Well, thanks again, Sheri. I appreciate